You might have heard of them in the news. They are called murderers, lawbreakers, and criminals. I can tell you, a lot of what you've heard of them is true. I have seen families ripped apart by the hands of youth gangs. But how did they get to this stage? What caused them to be like this? According to Howell 1997, the United States has seen a rapid proliferation of youth gangs since 1980. A youth gang is a self-formed group of peers with a gang name, a recognizable leadership, a territory, a regular meeting pattern, and collective actions to carry out illegal activities. Teenagers do not necessarily join gangs because they are angry and vicious, but poverty, hopelessness, and broken homes are all contributing factors. Joining a gang is predictable for youth surrounded by unemployment and poverty. Gangs hold a financial monopoly over youth who needs money to spend. Roberto Patino, a social worker in Venezuela, once said, "Our kids are finding ways to survive because neither in their homes nor in their communities is there enough food." Poor teenagers feel they have been deprived of the necessities of life. They do not have proper housing or the materials to get a proper education. Thus, young members introduce the necessities to them and offer them a better way of life for their membership. Violence is introduced to them, and while committing these acts of violence to take care of their financial needs, they start feeling a sense of power and control. What was meant to be temporary gang memberships becomes permanent. Additionally, there is the unyielding feeling of deep hopelessness which pushes teenagers towards gangs and violence. Much impoverished youth view gang membership as an inevitable part of life and believe there is no other option. Youth growing up in the ghetto can experience a total hassle. The fast life mentality and everyday hustles of its members can be deemed cultural. Money and drugs are iconic instruments in these areas. Teenagers who are not able to access these may develop a feeling of hopelessness. What is more is that being a part of a gang offers symbols and jargons that can cause youth who are not involved with them to feel alienated and hopeless. Altogether, these factors trigger a way of thinking that propels them to do whatever it takes. Kill or be killed. The feeling of hopelessness is indeed an internal war teenagers face, and they externalize it with violence and criminal activities. Consequently, a broken home is the enemy of society, as it is the number one driving force for teenagers to join gangs. According to Carly 2002, gangs are formed as a substitute for having a dysfunctional family which failed to provide unconditional love. Teens join gangs for the love and respect they feel they deserve but do not receive. The gang becomes an irrational substitute family which demands evil for acceptance. Accompanied by hearts filled with pain and hurt, unloved youth are only too ready to engage in violent and criminal behavior. they feel insignificant. Absent father or mother homes produce pain and rage. Violence is an attempt by teenage gang members to feel recognized. Gang violence has a negative effect around the world. It is not beneficial to anyone. All people are affected by gangs and dying because of them. Teenage gang members indulge in violence and many criminal activities, not necessarily because they are barbaric. Some of these teenagers are suffering from the feeling of hopelessness. They are poverty stricken and they are from fractured households.